right, everyone, welcome. We are back for another episode of Behind the Screen mini-series with Goal-Driven Counseling, where we are introducing to you all the awesome and wonderful therapists that actually make up the Goal-Driven Counseling team. So today we are actually here with Miss Jamika Walton. Hey, Jamika.
Hi.
We in the midst of COVID and she is looking amazing, okay? Amazing, so beautiful. But we are kind of just going to jump into the conversation like we have been so that you can be pulled into just learning more about her as a therapist. So to give you a little bit of an introduction, Jamika is the newest addition to the Goal Driven team. She's only been with us for a little while, but I'm going to tell you all this. We have been seeing clients in Illinois since last year, I believe like kind of last September or so. And we were getting an influx of referrals and things. And I put out on social media for the first time, disclaimer, I have never posted on social media for a new clinician. Like our clinicians have just kind of like organically came. And as you've seen through the series, I have a personal relationship with a lot of our therapists. So I held my breath. And I put out a job announcement on social media for the first time for an Illinois therapist. And Jamika answered like that, like so professional with her resume, cover letter. Like I interviewed her and it felt so warm and so good and just such a good fit for what we stand for here with Goal Driven. So that's just my introduction of Jamika. But now she is actually going to tell us a little bit more about herself.
Yes, hi. I am in Illinois, in Chicago. I've been practicing social work since 2015 in various areas of the field, mostly community mental health though. And I'm happy to be a part of Goal Driven Counseling. And just in my personal life, I like to do a lot of things with music. I like to be around a lot of people. I am like such a people person. So I love like just being around people, talking to people, which is why I'm probably a social worker. And I also love thrift shopping. I am shopping, and that's probably what I miss the most right now. It's not being able to go out, it's not being able to go to the thrift store. Like everything on the wall behind me is thrifted.
Oh my gosh.
So yes, I love going to the thrift store and like doing like little DIY projects. So.
Oh my goodness, that is beautiful. I've already complimented you on that. Wow, I had no idea it was thrifted. So you got an eye too. Nice. That's cool. So Jamika actually, she goes by the title of the underground therapist. So tell us a little bit about just what is that? Bring us into who's the underground therapist.
Yeah, I would say the underground therapist is the therapist that doesn't follow the mainstream rules of therapy. I like to really try and meet people where they're at, and I've been intentional about that in the different positions that I've held in social work. So I've done like home visits where I'm going into your house, or like I'll meet you in the community at a park. Now I'll meet you in your doctor's office, and then now like on virtual therapy, I can meet you wherever you're at. Like if you're on your lunch break, if you're in your car, you don't really have to come to an office and sit on a couch like you would normally do traditionally. And I like to be in communities that typically don't get access to services in their community, and I don't think people should have to travel to another community to get services. So I'm really passionate about bringing services to underserved communities, which I live in one. So I'm really passionate about serving the community that I live in, especially people of color who are generally under this ideal that we have to keep it together and that therapy is not for us. And I want to change that view. And that's my long-term goal, is to change that view and make therapy more more normalized, and it doesn't have to be this big scary thing where you have to go and be all professional and sit on the couch and tell your whole story. Like, you know, we can be on a computer screen and chatting about your friends that get on your nerves, you know, or the things that you want to do about your life that you haven't been able to do. And I think that you can be the best version of yourself without therapy being this big scary thing, where you have to address all these traumas.
Girl, I don't got no mic, but I'm gonna drop this pin drop. Oh my goodness. So now you all see why she's a part of the Goal Driven team. Like, that is what we're about. That's what we do. That's why Goal Driven was created, was to normalize it, decrease the stigma, increase access. And in her own words, like, I didn't prompt her to say any of that. Like, Jamika gave you exactly the heart of Goal Driven. So, oh my gosh, like, yes, I love that. The underground therapist. It tells me that as a social worker and a therapist, you are committed to shifting and pivoting and doing whatever is necessary to meet the needs of people, because as time changes, needs change, right? We do have some very structural, systematic issues that have been since the beginning of time, it feels like, and they're still there. But by and large, a lot of things have shifted, which has caused the profession to shift and the responses to the needs to have to shift as well. And so to hear you really take ownership of that and say, like, I'm committed to that through in and throughout, like, you better go ahead, underground therapist.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we've tried to make ourselves fit into this ideal of therapy, but my goal is to like make therapy like fit our lives and like what's appropriate for us, and take into account to like somebody's culture or somebody's gender and how that impacts like their experiences and their thoughts and their beliefs and things. And I don't know if that is always done in the traditional sense of therapy, so I'm trying to shift that.
Oh, gosh, this is so, like, I love it. I love it. This is so exciting. So for you all, I don't think I've said this before, but for you all to know, like, this is my first time hearing their responses to these questions. I gave them the questions. I intentionally did not tell them to send me their responses beforehand, because I wanted these conversations to be very organic and just comfortable. So I'm smiling from ear to ear, like chills are always running down my arms. My heart is beating so fast, because this is so amazing to just hear just the heart of our clinicians being shared with you all. And I'm just so excited. Like, when I say that Goal Driven has a dope and awesome, a dynamic clinical team, you see it. You see it right here. So Jamika, tell us, because therapists need therapists, right? We got them. We're human.
Yes.
So just to talk about the idea, because we always say, like, you need a good fit for a therapist, and everyone's not for everybody. And we need to, focus on certain things and make sure certain needs are met. Representation is important. Like, our clients or potential clients hear us say these things all the time, but what does that even mean? So if you were looking for a therapist, like, what qualities would you look for?
I think number one for me, my culture is really, really important to me. So I think it's really important for a therapist to be able to take into account my culture and in my treatment, and understand how that has impacted how I think about things or how I view things,
Right.
or my place in the world. Like, I think that's very, very important to me. So I think I think a therapist should definitely take that into account. Other than that, I think it's really important to understand the communication style that works best for you. I think some therapists are more direct and challenge a lot more, and then others are more reserved and like want the client to tell the story. So I think it's important to understand like which fit is best for you to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. And speaking to that, I need somebody that is more direct and that will challenge me in ways that people in my personal life can't.
Mm.
People in your personal life have so much buy-in into you because they're a part of it.
Right.
So they don't challenge you the way that somebody you don't see every day or that you don't talk to every day will, and that has no personal connection to your life will. So I appreciate a therapist that will challenge me, as well as be empathetic and be careful around that, because it could get pretty sticky. I don't want you to push me too much to where I fall in and I'm drowning, but like push me a
Right.
little bit past my comfort level.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's where the most change will happen. Because
Yeah.
I'm okay with where I'm at, so I need you to push me a little bit more to get to where I want to be. I also need a therapist that's open to feedback.
Mm.
Um, and I think that that's really important to me as a therapist. Personally, I ask clients a lot if they feel like therapy is working for them, how they feel the direction is going. Is there something that they think they should be getting that they're not getting? So I would appreciate a therapist that's open to comments like that and any questions that come up, or that is open to always learning new styles and new techniques to utilize. Those are very, very important to me.
Yeah. Oh, that was good. So, just as a recap, we want therapists that might have a little bit of shared experience or just really have cultural humility is I think a good term for us to use.
Yes.
Right. So, there's shared experience, cultural humility for them to have a communication style that works, to be challenging, but also empathetic. Those two things have to like balance
Right.
each other. And that's the essence of meeting a client where they are too, is what I hear you saying.
Right.
And being open to feedback and you being an active part of the process
Right.
too. Oh, that's good. That's really good. So you,
Yeah.
you talked about this earlier as being the underground therapist, like, really being untraditional in your approaches and style, and now virtual therapy is something that you're also adding as a untraditional way or an innovative way to work with clients. So tell me, what have been the benefits or the pros that you've seen working with clients virtually?
I think the benefits is it takes away so many barriers that I have seen in the field so far.
Mhm.
One being transportation. Transportation is a huge barrier
Yeah.
for people, and this just cuts it out. You could just turn on your phone or turn on your laptop, and you're good to go. And I think it takes away some of the stigma. I'm not going to this big fancy office to talk about my big problems. Like, I'm at home or I'm in my car, I'm on my lunch break, and I'm talking to my therapist. And
Mhm.
it just creates a more relaxed feel, I think, which I think is helpful for a lot of clients.
Mhm.
To not feel as much pressure as they probably might inside of an office or on a couch.
Right. Right. Good. Good. So it definitely is the approach being a bit different or a bit unconventional definitely has some benefits that translate with the clients that you're seeing.
Yeah, and we're in a technologically driven world. So people are like almost always on their phones. So this is just another way to like utilize technology to take care of yourself and like to take care of your mental health. Um,
Mhm.
and usually it's not used that way, and it's usually sometimes a detriment to our mental health. So I think it's nice to utilize it for good too.
Yeah. Oh, okay, you threw another thing out there. Can you talk about that just a little bit? So balancing using technology for our mental health, because I always say, right, like our lives are kind of driven and run with like our business, our educational lives, our personal lives. Like it has a technological component where our mental health might doesn't. So you just mentioned, you said that sometimes technology can be to our detriment and we can use it in a good way here. So just talk about that a little bit more too. How
Yeah, I
has
think
it been?
sometimes we get too wrapped up into technology and the social media and the screen time, and that's so impactful on our body, on our sleep, on our mood. And I don't think people realize how much like looking at a screen impacts like your body and how you feel. And not only that, it's the content that you look at. Social media is so much of judging and like kind of jealousy and in ways that you kind of want what somebody else puts out.
Comparison.
Yeah, a lot of comparisons. A lot of self-esteem things come up from social media. But also a lot of good things have come out of social media. There's a lot of services, a lot of therapists that post really good mental health content. And I've been more intentional about who I follow and what I look at, and how much time I spend on social media. So I think it's sometimes important to take breaks and put limits on yourself. So I sometimes fast from social media, just to get into other things that I might be interested in, because technology is so fun and it's so engaging. It's real easy to get wrapped up in that, and I forget about other things I might be interested in, like reading books or listening to music or stuff like that. So I think it's nice to have a mix of positive things like therapy and therapeutic content and therapists online, and mixed in with all of the other negative things that are on there too.
Yeah,
so it's like a balance of, because it's fun, it's entertaining to see all of this stuff on social media. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist if it wasn't fun.
Right.
But we need to balance it with all the good stuff too.
Yep, the word balance. I was just about to say that, and you said we need to balance. I'm like, yeah. So that's exactly what I heard you say, is like, so we are promoting, using technology for therapy and all of that, and talking about how great it is, which it is. Like, it is something that I think is a huge, huge benefit, that we're seeing right now as a nation of therapists and providers have had to go virtual. And so when you mentioned that it can be a detriment too, like, I didn't want people to be confused as to, well, y'all promoting us doing this virtually, but then it hurt us too. So I love how you were able to break down and share what that actually means. Like, we can use it for good, and we can tailor what we're doing there, also being mindful of some of the other kind of consequences or negative effects that other things can do. So that balance is just a huge thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jamika. This was amazing. I really enjoyed everything that you shared here. For you all that are watching, you can check out Jamika's full profile on our website. You can sign up for services with her. We're going to drop the link, of course. If you have any questions or just any feedback for us, drop that as well. But I just want to thank you for joining us. Jamika, I thank you for everything that you share with us today and bringing us into just the inside view of the underground therapist.
Thank you.